Division. We are in stage 1 of the tournament here in the Chinese qualifier. We are going to be looking at the Wings Gaming versus FTD.B, and we're looking at game number 2. Game 1 was crazy. It was 67 minutes long. It was back and forth, but in the end, Wings triumphed. They were able to prevail, and now 1-0 is their score, but they're definitely looking for that 2-0 to get the 3 points rather than just 1. And we'll be jumping right into the draft here. Thank you guys for staying tuned. There have been some technical issues here and there, a lot of it outside my control. I'm doing my best, I promise, and hopefully we get things a little bit smoother this time around. Going into the draft for game number 2. So, we've got ourselves a Doom first pick, making it through the phase as the Wings are actually prioritizing the Spirit Breaker and the Night Stalker bands over Doom. And it's very clear that Doom is going to be the first pick here, obviously. FTD, I mean, they know this team, whether through scrims or through research, they know they're going to pick up Doom if given the chance. It's very reasonable to do so. So, their response, their preparation for the Doom is a Tusk Ember, getting some really powerful heroes, and then just trying to outmaneuver, I would say. I mean, Tusk makes it through the banning phase, which in of itself is really good, so you kind of trade the Doom for the Tusk. But then the Ember Spirit, while some would say that hero is absolutely destroyed by Doom, because a lot of his damage is pure, and if you're doomed on an Ember, you pretty much do nothing. Your right clicks are pretty useless. But if you're a really good Ember Spirit, playing on low ping with great reflexes, you can actually get a spell off to dodge out the Doom before it connects. The cast animation will be mid. Swing, you'll be just on the verge of being doomed, and then Sleight of Fist or the Remnant Away will save the day for you. So it all comes down to locking down this Ember Spirit so that he can be doomed, whether like a Lion with a Blink Hex could enable that, or something along those lines. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it is very important that the Ember Spirit looks to outmaneuver, and obviously the Doom to find his mark. We're going to see the Darkseer be picked up alongside the Doom here. Interestingly, that means that we're going to be seeing, it looks like a Jungle Doom, FY style, or a Mid Doom, which obviously has not been very prominent since like 2011. 2011, when the hero pool was like a quarter of what it currently is. That's when we saw a lot more Mid Doom, but now I'm not so sure about it. The Darkseer seems to be your off-lane pickup, and that would, and Helicopter seems to be the safe lane one, so I'm really not sure. It's very interesting. Anyways, you got your secondary bans here, second phase, Bounty Hunter and Queen of Pain taken off the table, as well the Juggernaut and the Clinks, a lot of bans and picks that we saw in the previous game for pretty much the same reasons. The Ancient Apparition is going to come out here, Darkseer goes Mech very frequently, Doom with the Scorch Earth Self-Heal, even Gyrocopter with a bit of lifesteal built into his common item build. All these heroes benefit substantially from healing effects, and that's going to be negated here by the Ancient Apparition if his Ice Blasts are on point. That being said, they picked the AA before the Gyrocopter, maybe thinking Alchemist would have been a possibility. It's very greedy. I mean, you're looking at devouring creeps as Doom, and building up the Alchemist, you have to, your supports are really have a lot of work cut out for them to kind of stabilize and to allow those greedy heroes to really make their mark. But it's still an understandable pickup here. And of course, we saw how good AA could be in that last game when those blasts really were able to connect and get some good kills in. That being said, now they need a good support to combo it with. Some Chinese teams will run the Tusk as that support, and you'll see like MMY, for example, pick up Tusk very frequently. But here, I think they're still looking for a 4-position support that will set up the Ancient Apparition. Interestingly enough, two very high priority 5-position supports have not been picked or banned this entire match so far, or sorry, this game. It was banned out and picked earlier. The Wyvern was actually, I think, first pick for FTD Club in Game 1. But now we see that the Winter Wyvern and the Dazzle have both been completely ignored, as both teams are really looking for their core heroes here, especially FTD.B.
5 seconds remaining.
So now we have 2 supports, potentially 1 if the Doom jungles, coming out for FTD.B, and what could it be? Abaddon is decent here in terms of responding to things. Of course, Dazzle and Wyvern, as I mentioned, pretty huge. But I'm not 100% certain what they prefer. Huh. I mean, Dazzle is really good against Tusk. Your lane, Gyrocopter Dazzle is not going to die to Tusk if you play it right. unless they have a huge TP rotation, at least 3 heroes up top to assassinate.
Disruptor.
But they go for the Disruptor, and obviously he creates some value as well. The AoE silence is huge against the Ember Spirit. The kinetic field can really inhibit the Tusk, because when he's snowballing in, you just drop the kinetic field on top of him, and then he's locked in a position he may not prefer, and you could definitely get some good kills. Glimpse is occasionally really powerful for Ember Spirit, but I would say that's pretty situational.
5 seconds remaining.
So yeah, I'm not too sure. It's a pretty solid overall pick. But yeah, they really need to make sure they're stacking the jungle very frequently, and that they're doing just everything they can to really build up their lanes. I was thinking the Lich would have been a pretty decent pickup. Doom Lich is considered one of the best dual lanes, just because your Devour cancels out the Sacrifice Creep-Equilibrium shift, and then you're just taking so much away from the safe lane core. But seems they wanted to go a different tack, and I could see the Disruptor being better with the spells that he brings to the team fights than that Chain Frost, which can very frequently be snowballed or windrunned into a safe position. Still, though, Alchemist is going to be the ban for Wings Gaming. I find that very interesting. They've picked up AA. They have Ember Spirit and Moonranger that can steal stacks. I think they have momentum in the early stage, yet they're still afraid of Alchemist. I can't get behind that logic. I have to say that if the Doom is jungling and the Disruptor is the solo support, there's no way the Alchemist will do anything in this game. He's gonna get Ice Blasted, he's gonna get killed, he's gonna buy very few items. The Radiance would be a miracle. I don't know. I feel like Alchemist is not the right ban, unless you're worried about a support Alchemist, which I haven't seen for a very long time. Anywho, you've got Slaughter as your last pick, another high priority hero that for some reason has made it to the end of the drafting stage. But obviously there are a lot of great picks in this patch, and DK is going to be among them. This will give some push momentum to FTD, and it does mean Hitagi is essentially on the solo support. Doom is going to be jungling, Doom is going to be building himself up, and maybe occasionally helping out. You know, a Flying Courier or a Sentry Ward here or there. But overall, DK, obviously he's really tanky, naturally, even against Slaughter's damage amplification. He still has that Dragon's Blood to fall back on, so he's going to be feeling relatively comfortable. And if it is going to be the expectation of... No, it seems like Shadow's taking Ember mid. At least that he was playing mid previously, so that would leave Dragon Knight versus Ember Spirit, flame on flame. Breathefire is not as good at harassing Ember Spirit as it would be Windranger. Windranger is very low base HP, obviously reliant on her damage output to CS, like her auto attacks. So I feel like Breathefire would be really good against her, but not so great against Ember. Ember Spirit more so punished by the Dragon Tail and being caught out in the laning phase if there's a good smoke rotation. So far so good. Perfect world. Are you playing ball? Maybe that reset was worth it, after all. Alrighty, looking forward to the rest of tonight, guys. Sorry it's been a bit of a slow start. We're now actually a full hour and a half behind schedule with delays on Starlighters side as well as a little bit on my own. But here we are, and we're going to be seeing Game 2 start off with a smoke play. A 3-man snowball coming in. The range shares will stay back, but James in some real trouble here. Crushed and killed with Shadow taking the first blood. Oh, beautiful. Ember Spirit getting a lot of momentum here. And it does look like it's a side lane Ember, despite what he ran previously. And that would leave Windranger to take the solo mid. So very interesting laning configuration here. We're going to see the Observer Ward planted pretty deep to scout out the Doom's jungle movements, and of course this one to block off the camp. You can still just put the basic sentry here and block it out, but sometimes you'll miss a spawn point just by 10 seconds by having to walk around the trees. Anywho, we'll see the Banner Rune Skirmish come out. It looks like it's just going to be Dire getting it straight up. Dragon Knight will pick it up for himself, but while they're waiting for it, they're actually going to get caught out in the river here, and we can see another snowball forward. Big snowball! Oh, 2-man crush! Dragon Knight going to be taking a lot of damage here, despite the Breathe Fire. 2 heroes going down quick. It's going to be Doom, whose Scorched Earth is not enough to keep him alive, and then the Dragon Knight as well. They will get the Ancient Apparition, and they will bring Ember Spirit low, but still, that's a 3-for-1 in total, and you'll see the Bounty Runes went to the Windranger and the DK. So 1-for-1 on the Bounty Runes, but a 3-for-1 including First Blood, favoring Wings. And they just seem to have the better movement early on. With that snowball, they're able to just collaborate in such a real way. And this is the style that I think Ice Ice plays better. Oh, gonna be bringing him in onto the tower. Very dangerous move. They do have the Searing Chains ×2 though, and that's gonna be some heavy right clicks. Chilling Touch, not off cooldown. 10 seconds less of a cooldown, and that would have been an absolutely guaranteed kill. Instead, just gonna be a nice attempt, and this is gonna make it harder for this lane to work. Doom actually isn't jungling, despite the ward's implications, despite just your general expectations. Vici Gaming has set this precedent of jungling the Doom if he's the kind of 4 position. Instead, he's offlaning it. Scorched Earth and Ion Shell, the big immolation effects, doing what they can. And we're actually seeing that this sentry doesn't even block. It's actually supposed to be here, over, yeah, it's definitely further west, not to the east. And, I mean, there's a lot of supports that are thrown off a little bit by the reborn changes to the spawn boxes, but oh my, that's a lot of damage coming in. Ice Shards, Searing Chains, and that Chilling Touch damage brings Doom down quick. And I would say Doom's probably one of the tanky heroes against Chilling Touch. He's got a base HP of 640. While physical damage really hurts him, magical damage probably less impactful than against most heroes. Same with the Darkseer with 606 base right now. But it's still just, it's such a clean kill coming in from the Tusk Ice Shards that it doesn't matter how tanky you may be, you still go down. And then he's actually going to be a bit of a liability in this lineup once the Slaughter really comes online. Amp damage plus Blink, Doom is going to be just really in a bad way. He already started off in a bad way with Scorch. Oh gosh, Tusk. They're like right next to each other and neither sees it. But he's got double damage. Oh, they wanted to power shot scout the snowball play, and instead he's just back bottle crowing or grabbing the bottle at the least, since the Tusk could obviously wrap back and get a pick off. Oh, it's going to be them finding each other here, a nice little double damage poke. But the big thing here is this 55-second cooldown, the Scorched Earth, blown for almost nothing. Let's see him. I do think that the Doom would actually have started in his jungle, if not for the fact that he had to skill Scorched Earth level 1. When he was the subject of that snowball, he knew he needed the Scorched Earth to have any chance of surviving. And now finally he gets to be level 2. Now he gets to devour something. Not really a lot of good creeps right now. Wild Wing is over here. Wild Wing would actually be really good. But he'll just go with the Hellbear, and while he can't really use the clap efficiently, it's still, at least he gets the attack speed aura out of it. And he'll need probably a ring protection or, yeah, he'll probably go Tranquil Boots here, I would imagine. Just to make it as efficient as possible. Anyway, so let's talk about last hits. Right now we've got 22 and 4 for the Wind Ranger. Actually got 22 and 14 on Gyrocopter. Really good denies coming out of Gyro as he makes his way towards the Power Treads and the Ring of Aquila opener. Disruptor here, approaching level 3, gets some good stacks and pulling going along. It's sometimes dangerous to stack this because the Slaughter would look to pull it to the west, but because you have so much kill potential against the Slaughter with just like the kinetic field or a single glimpse, he's not willing to really trespass into that territory, so you can actually afford to stack this without it really being punished. Wait, I think I heard a snowball play. Sorry, I missed that completely. I don't know why. I think I turned my volume down a little bit too much, so I'll raise the game sounds a bit. But yeah, I saw them smoking. I saw him buy the smoke, saw him prep the smoke, and then I just kind of got lost in my own little world there. So sorry about that. But yeah, they find the Doom, they snowball the Doom, they kill the Doom. Good rotation from the Slaughter, away from the offlane and into a great crush opportunity. And now they get to go for that classic duel lane, the Slaughter Tusk. Oh, gonna see the Searing Chains cooling down, just 1 second left. They could have killed off that Darkseer, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. At least they're getting some good last hits down here, 22 and 5. So, Slaughter Tusk doing their thing to pressure the Disruptor, but now it's going to be a glimpse back right into the Gyrocopter. They could definitely kinetic this. Snowball's here, though, and they'll try to dodge the next Rocket Barrage. The Rocket Barrage comes through, they'll snowball as soon as that happens, if they have to. But they're actually just going to run away, have the Ice Shards, can maybe put them under tower here. This would be great! Snowball can go for the Crush and the Ice Shards, but needs to pop a Mango for that, and he's already limping away from the fight. So, no turn potential here, Gyrocopter. A little bit too tanky, and yeah, in the end, just controlling his offlane pretty well. Doesn't even need a Dazzle for it. That being said, the Doom is still off to a very slow start. He did end up devouring the Wolf, which mid to late game is great, but early game is a pretty weak. Devour to have. You get plus 20 damage, you get the crit potentially, but it's just very slow, very ineffectual. We're going to actually see the Dragon Knight caught out here. There's going to be a nice little shackle and the Ice Vortex setting up the kill. It's also worth noting that Chilling Touch synergizes really well with Wind Ranger's ultimate, getting the Focus Fire down. But we're actually going to see Doom here in some trouble. 2 points in Scorched Earth, putting some damage out, but Ice looking to turn it around, and they still might not be over. Searing Chains ×2 hitting onto this Darkseer pretty hard. Ice doesn't have any spells though, and he's actually taking a lot of pokes from this Ion Shell Doom. One more hit could be a kill, but instead James realizes he's caught out completely, and Shadow will finish him off.
All lives must end.
So, good kiting there. In the end, 7-1 favoring the Wings Gaming. Now Hitagi will have to kind of camp mid and leave the Gyrocopter to do his thing top. Observer Ward scouted out, so that won't last long either. This Doom pick, so far, no good. Really just needs to find some personal time to build himself up. The Wild Wing will really help. If he can get some stacks out and devour a Wild Wing, that would actually allow him to suddenly come back. They have a triple over here? Yeah, look at all these creeps. If you tornado that, the Doom is back in the game. So, and there's some more stacks coming out. I think that's James way back into this one. But for now, he'll go back bottom and just try to play around that Scorched Earth a little bit more. Or no, changes his mind. Anywho, I figure if you're going to walk all the way down this way, you might as well just stack the Ancients and then head back to your own jungle, but no matter the case. Ember Spirit taking some hits from the Ion Shell here. Flame Guard on cooldown, but the bottle will make him perfectly fine. If you have to spend a Remnant to jump back to lane, that's fine too. All you do is just obviously drop the Flame Remnant down, TP back home, and before you know it, you're full HP, full bottle, and back on the lane. Gyrocopter's ready to start pushing. He's got his ring on. He's got 53 CS, and he wants his tier 1 tower. Slardar over here, just looking to get experience and just trying to stay within the minimum range. Dragon Knight trying to hold his own as Wind Ranger just pokes down that ward, but the real action is going to be up top with the TP most likely coming from the Ember. Oh, Wind Ranger eats a nuke. She probably can't TP with this low of HP, unless she picks up a really good rune here. And it's going to go to Ember and DK as far as the runes go. So this tower dropping down to 125 HP, and a glimpse available for the Slardar, pulling him back, and he's going to get a good crush off. But I don't think they turn this around. They just lose. Like, I don't understand why you have two heroes floating about if you're not looking to contest, if you're not looking to TP, and they clearly were not. Just a complete mistake, and that will give one kill away. Seems small, just 186 gold, but some good momentum as they take the tier 1 tower as well. So now Gyrocopter can start farming stacks up. Doom is going to keep his wolf and just do it one creep at a time. In the meantime, Gyrocopter, he's looking for his first kill. Thanks to the call down, he has some good potential. And going to have the drums out pretty soon too. So yeah, down bottom, looks like the play is going to focus on killing off this Ember Spirit, but it's a little bit easier said than done. They don't have the Static Storm, they don't have the Dragon Tail, so they're going to wrap mid instead. And they will not see the Slardar just yet, but the smoke does break before they hit the tower. So they should be seeing him very shortly. There he is, and he's going to try to sprint away. The Dragon Tail, the glimpse back, and that should be the kill very easily. Some good magical damage coming out from the two cores. Ice Blast coming middle as well from the Radiant side, though, punishing the Gyrocopter a bit. But Shadow doesn't find his quarry in Hitagi. It's going to be just a power shot and a right click to bring him to Shadow Threshold. And that is going to be bring the kill score 8-3 up top. We've got James just trying to poke out Ice, who has been giving him just so much difficulty up to this point. Down bottom, some damage coming on Ancient Apparition, but Darkseer has to disengage. No, the creep block coming through, and the Slaughter TPing in with the crush. They'll bring him down 1 for 1 while he commits the wall. Oh, that's just not good for FTD. Losing the offlaner like that is really going to punish them in terms of levels. And maybe, like, often I like to say, well, at least the Ancient Apparition didn't get experience for that. But he hardly needs it. He's got enough solo experience that suddenly he already has Ice Blast here 10 minutes in the game. That's very impressive. So I feel like FTD have to start making things happen. They have to get more efficient about their jungling, stacking up camps so the Gyrocopter can clear them out. They did just take this one for the Gyro, but even still, they need more. And then, yeah, they need to start pushing harder and harder. Because so far, I think Focus Fire has beaten Elder Dragon Form in terms of pushing value. in just singling out a lane to focus. Anyway, switching over to net worth, we do see Wind Ranger at the top here. She's sporting a 3-0-1 KDA, and she's actually going to be going for the Maelstrom, so a very good farming build. We're actually going to be seeing Slaughter trying to charge in, but it's actually going to be Gyrocopter that now will turn things around a bit. The Ember Spirit jumps back right into the call down. Shadow's going to try to jump away. He takes one hit, and wow! He didn't have mana. Oh, that sucks. Now Wise in a really bad spot, and this is just a lot of gold going down the drain, maybe even beyond getting picked up again. Oh no, in the kinetic, he'll drop. And Wind Ranger can do absolutely nothing for it. This is a disaster. Now Hastrun charging bottom, finding the Wind Ranger and nuking her down as well. Try as you might, it looks like they're both going to fall here. And Hitagi's setting it up perfectly. Snowball dragged out, and Ice going down. A 5-man team wipe out of nowhere from FTD. Beautiful performance for them. And that actually puts them, I would say, in a substantial lead. And, yeah, they need to make things happen. Now they have. Ember Spirit gets the Remnant. No! His Remnant is up here. That's fine. He didn't have to place one, as he still had one up for a few more seconds there. So, I really like this new aggressive style from FTD. They didn't really get the Doom involved. He kind of just focused on his own thing, going for Devourers and Midas and so on. But I'm really glad that they got everybody else involved. That 4-man movement ended up with a 5-man wipe. I would say there was a lot of misplay coming in from the Wings there in terms of how they engaged that confrontation, but no matter what, FTD, they had the right heroes at the right place at the right time, and that's very, very important. Dragon Knight's actually saving up a lot. Is he going for Shadow Blade, Blink Dagger? Blink Dagger would be really good, I think, this game. We'll see. It really comes down to what the Doom wants to buy. If the Doom doesn't want to buy Blink, just wants to focus on like Aghanims or utility items, then yeah, I think the DK could definitely get a lot of value out of the Blink. I've also seen Midas on him too, so there's a possibility they say, let's just take this game late. The Ember Spirit, Battle Fairy Cleave on the high ground is often going to delay the game anyways, so there's some value in it. We're actually going to see a 3 versus 2 here as James just gets absolutely slaughtered. Very nice flank, and obviously dissuades them from going for the 2v1 play. Gyro, trying to just find one lowly hero to isolate, but in the end he's just going to find a creep wave to farm back up towards the top lane. Tagi all by himself. A little bit of vision would mean a snowball, but for now they just focus fire on the tower and pop that glyph. Ice really wants this one. Will the Shard scout it out? No, it's actually going to be Ice that gets caught out, and the Gyrocopter's happy, welcoming arms. The snowball will actually be on the creep wave here, so Ice might be able to get out of it, but he's so isolated, and Hitagi will be fine. So, right now, kill score is equal, and you tell me that 5 minutes ago, you told me that FTD has brought it back to a completely even game, and I would not believe it. It just seemed like the Wings Gaming were on an absolute tear, and now they're just failing to do anything. Now the Doom comes out an Ember before he gets a dodge. No Slight, no Remnant, just a dead Ember Spirit. They don't, I think, have any healing for him, so although they did get a nice crush, he's going to drop down at least to 20 HP, I think. Very close. Actually going to be one less tick, so 100 HP remains here. Obviously level 1 Doom only does 20 pure DPS, so it isn't that bad, but any more follow-up and that would be a dead Ember Spirit. And we're actually going to see the Observer Ward give enough vision for the glimpse, but that Sprint Tranquil Boot build going to allow him to escape the grasp of Disruptor this time. Alright, anything in... Oh, that's an interesting movement there. Smoking in a position where you really wouldn't expect it, but it actually might find them a kill here. Hitagi has the static kinetic, but he's all by himself. Will have to run out of the bubble as quickly as possible and leave him for his buddies to clean up here. One Remnant to the side. Gonna get him some distance, but it might not be enough here if they go in full pursuit. Shadow's trying to just bait him around, but there's going to be a full disengage from beyond. The second he leaves the snowball, he's like, oh, there's too much, and he couldn't even get a single crush off, but still a great movement there from the Ember Spirit. Allows them to get in, kill off 2, and now finish off Hitagi on the eastern side. I think so. The glimpse hurts his chances, but he still gets the Remnant on him for the triple kill. And that's just going to be the Shadow-Bladed Dragon Knight just having to head for the hills. So a really good exchange there, and it really comes down to the Ember Spirit. I mean, there was a decent power shot there from the Wind Ranger too, a good focus fire with the Maelstrom procs, but man, they turned that around so quickly. Thanks to the Ember Spirit just kind of juking and jiving. He really got to do everything he wanted in that fight, and then that Maelstrom build is not just good for farming. If she doesn't get focused down, and you don't punish the fact that she's only 1000 HP, the lightning procs actually do a lot. Contrary to the tooltip, they will do full damage on procs during focus fire, and that is just immense. That allows you to just tear through your opponents when they don't have that mechanism, and I would have to say that's the one thing that FTD were really lacking there. It's not initiation, like the Shadow Blade, it's nice to have now, but they didn't need it for that fight with the way the Disruptor walked in. What they needed was a mechanism to stand and deliver while they fought underneath the wall of Replica. Now the mechanism's complete, but just one fight too late, as now we see some really good momentum being built up for the Wings Gaming. Shadow's working towards his Battle Fury rapidly, Wind Ranger towards that Aghanim Scepter. And when that's done, I feel like there's nothing stopping the Wings from just focusing down towers, taking key objectives like Roshan. All they need is some good wordplay, and they'll be on the road to victory. Beyond 1560, I would say Beyond's had some awkward plays here and there. Oh, a glimpse back on why it might be a second kill. They found the Ember Spirit earlier, and now they're looking for one more. They just Static Stormed the Ember Spirit, so just coming out of the trees with a Static Storm will generally net you a kill on the Ember early. But following it up with the Ancient Apparition, that's actually pretty big, because now the smoke from the Radiant has very low chance of success. I mean, they might find a solo hero, but more likely it's just going to be the smoke broken by the Shadow Blade, and they have to run for their lives. So, right now, FTD getting a nice little pickoff. It's kind of back and forth again, but I feel like there's a lot more potential for the Radiant right now, just building up their current core items, especially this Blink Dagger. Beyond's movements have been a little bit awkward, and I would say a lot of that has to do with the fact that he doesn't have a good initiation tool. But building up items like Force Staff and Blink Dagger on the Slowdar allow him to just move so spectacularly. It's effortless, honestly. The way you just sprint, Blink Crush into a fight, you can find so many opportunities. Now we've got the Elder Red Dragon form doing some real work to the tower, and now you start to see this Alpha Wolf's Pack Leader aura come into play. But they're still not confident enough to take the tower just yet, backing off and finding a new resurgence with the next creep wave. Drop it down. It's actually going to get the kill here, and Wind Ranger's taking a lot of heat, but the Ice Blast will come through, just debuffing and hitting on one. And then we're going to see the death of the Wind Ranger very quickly, as she just gets hit by way too much to survive. We're going to see the Static Storm come down, the Disruptor disengage while the Tusk falls, and there's no deny on the Doom. Oh, wow. Why didn't they just deny her? I'm not too sure. Beyond, hiding, actually gets the jump away, but still FTD right now on a tear. They still have 2 ultimates available, and the Elder Dragon form for a little bit longer. But I don't think they're going to do more than half this tower's damage. If they stay that long, then the Ice Blast could absolutely destroy them. So yeah, they're going to back off here now, and that's the right call. Beyond, no blink. Oh, DK re-engaging with a nice Dragon Tail back wall back, and they're going to do so much damage. One more hit will bring the Slaughter down, and the Ember is now on the run. Glimpse back, and the Doom poking him. That was his crit animation, but it looks like it didn't go through. The Ember Spirit is now walking away. And they'll just leave it at that. 17 to 14, towers dropping. Really, really good momentum for FTD. It all comes down to the Slaughter. Like, I feel like despite the punishment that Doom received, the Darkseer got his key item, the mechanism, at a pretty good time, and the Slaughter is still not there. He's down here in, what is it, 6th place in terms of net worth, and he needs to be so much higher. Along with that, they're getting a nice little sentry here to block off the stacking games that you're expecting from the Radiant, and even a nice little Observer Ward to scout it out. This intentionally doesn't block the spawn, but it is going to be keeping tabs on who's farming there. From here on, we've got Aghanim Scepter on the Wind Ranger in just 300 gold, and nobody to contest her in the top lane. You got the, I think, Ags progression coming in from Doom. Sometimes you see like S and Y, but I think Ags is a little better in this situation. We'll have to see. Definitely don't think you go BKB first, that's for sure. And then Blink Dagger most likely for X next.
Dire's structures are
Disruptor
fortified.
still playing that 5 position, but has found
Dire's
himself
top tower is under attack.
Urn of Shadows as well as Cloak just by being involved in these kills. His KDA is 3, 2, and 8. And despite being the full
Radiant's
5
bottom
position, he's
tower is
beating the
under
AA
attack.
in net worth.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
So, I think this is time for the Radiant to regroup. Unfortunately, they did lose a tier 2 before they were really able to rally.
Radiant's
That
bottom
sucks,
tower
but
has fallen.
sometimes you have to concede those kinds of towers. Like, the Dragon Knight could be anywhere at that moment. They do get a Sentry Ward now, but, I mean, he could be easily getting a good flank off here, and it makes this kind of position very difficult to defend. So, moving forward, I think this, if there is a comeback this game, I think this is going to be the starting point for the Wings Gaming. Right now they're at a disadvantage of just 6k net worth, not even like 3,500 experience, so it's not that bad, and the Slaughter is about to come online. The Tusk kind of just trying to do his best here as a, I guess, 4-position hero. He's not been warding, so yeah, he just goes Urns and Treads. And they're actually scouting out Roshan, which turns out not to be an issue at all, as Dragon Knight's happily moving right up to the top. Oh, they do get the Dragon Tail on Wind Ranger, which means she is going to be going down. Aghanims or not, she gets caught by the Glimpse, and she just bought out. This tier 3 tower is actually taking a lot of damage now, and it's going to be taking everything that the Radiant have to withstand it. There's no item you can sell here to try to finish off the battle for you. You just have to fight without it. They'll get some good damage bouncing the TK back. He goes down fast, even with the mechanism. That was a beautiful Searing Chain Ice Shard combo, really just cutting off the path of retreat. Now James a little bit worried for himself, and he gets bounced out just barely by those shards. Itagi still playing around the flank of the battlefield, gets a good kinetic, isolating AA. The Ice Blast will do nothing but a fraction on the DS. So Hitagi's going to be punched up, and that's going to be it. Darkseer, Disruptor, and Dragon Knight all finished off. But Gyrocopter still wants a piece. He's going in. He doesn't have any drum charges, but he will do a lot of damage to Beyond, and they'll doom him up to finish him off unless the Tranquil Boots kick in time. It's a level 2 Doom, so that's not going to happen. Anyways, now we see Doom in retreat. Gets the killing spree from the Slardar, and then that's jacked immediately by the Tusk. Wow. That was pretty wild. For the Gyrocopter to turn like that, it was very ambitious. I don't know. I mean, obviously he had a lot of self-confidence. He had the level 2 call down. They were walking right into it, and the sprint does amplify damage received by 15%, but that just wasn't enough for them to turn it more than what you saw there. And I feel like that in the end actually feeds momentum the way of the Radiant, where they nearly had a free tier 3 and a walkaway with that pickoff on the Wind Ranger. Instead it turns disastrous as they just stick around too long. Once the Dragon Knight got caught, it's pretty much every man for himself, but instead they tried to fight outside the base, and that just wasn't their engagement to take. I gotta feel like it was the Gyrocopter calling those shots, though. Like, he seemed to be the one that was most confident in their ability to take that fight, and I think that was probably the wrong call, so. Rest in peace, the casualties of war. We'll see, James actually go for a BKB. I mean, it is good this game. It is very good this game. There's a lot of magic damage flying about. There's some decent disables. But it's still a first item BKB. Essentially, you go the Midas to extend the... Oh, we're going to talk about that later, because we're seeing a big fight break out. There is no Doom involved in this one, though. And we're actually going to see the Dragon Knight focus down very early and shattering. Big damage coming out. But now the Wind Ranger will be taking some hits and can't win or run away. She'll just stand and fire with that focus fire. Maelstrom procs galore. And Darkseer caught in the chains will be going down as well. Will they have to deny the Wind Ranger? If she gets hit anymore, certainly. But that's not going to happen. So she's going to walk away. Tusk. I don't know if you want this, but with 4 heroes, they'll go for it, and the Shackle will connect. Beautiful Shackle. Despite the Wind Ranger's low HP, she'll go in, she'll finish the job, and if they dodge out the wall, they will be able to go for the big boss man in the pit. Null Tally. I think that's a dire Null Tally. Yep, it's, Oh, it's actually Wind Rangers. Okay, my bad. Anyways, yeah, they were in the pit. Nice attempt from FTD to try to block that off. They've got some great AoE abilities, but the fight did not turn out the way they needed it to. Wind Ranger really putting out a lot of damage that one. And that Maelstrom Aghanims, really a great build this game. There's no pipe, obviously, and just in general, she's been able to stand and deliver in spite of a lot of opposition. Back over to net worth. That means she is actually right up there with the gyrocopter in the top 2 of the net worth, with a 7, 3, and 5 KDA. And now they've got the Aegis life insurance here on the Ember Spirit. So BOTing around, farming with Battle Fury, and having that backup plan, it's just something Doom can't fight into. Like, now it doesn't even matter if the Doom dooms the Ember, because the Ember Spirit comes back as soon as his initial life runs out. And of course, then you've got the Wind Ranger, who so far has gotten her Wind Run off just before every Doom placed upon her. And it's just, this hero pick has not been working out. On top of that, I'll go back to an item decision I was talking about before. He went Midas into BKB. You go the Midas when you think the game is going to be prolonged. You know the game is going to be extended. You need to get your experience up. The higher levels in Doom in particular are really good. Hitting level 11 and 16 are a really big deal. So Midas makes sense on the hero that needs a recovery, and the Devourer gets him it. But then, as soon as you pick up the Midas, the next item you purchase is a BKB, which is a very present tense item. It's like, I want to fight now, I have to fight now, and if I don't have this item, I can't take fights. Well, what we're seeing right now is that he has this item, he's using this item, reducing the charges, and obviously with limited farming speed, and yet he's not able to take fights because they just lost the Roshan engagement. They're lost now that they have the Aegis on Ember Spirit, and Doom just doesn't have the impact that he needs to for the next 5 minutes. Yeah, he's a support, so you can argue it's okay, but at the end of the day, I would say that you need an item like Ags over BKB. And I mean, yes, the Walrus Punch, the Slardar Bash, and obviously a lot of right clicks, as well as the Shatter debuff all go through BKB, so you can argue that's a reason why it's not as good either. But there's enough stuns that I would say that I understand why he wants it, it's just not the right time. Gonna see a Blink Crush here onto Hitagi, Glimpse or not, that's a dead Disruptor. And it's gonna be the Wind Ranger to pick up yet another kill. So, extended smoke movement. I'm honestly surprised that Gyrocopter gets to farm all the way out here and survives, but Hitagi's the one to pay for his crimes, and that's going to be more momentum here for the Wings Gaming. 24 to 21 here at 27 minutes, and they're even going to ping out bottom, but that's a TP away from the Darkseer after he drops the shells. Dire Observer Ward recently placed here by Hitagi. They have some good idea of where the enemy is farming, but they have another 2 minutes before they can really make a gameplay happen. This is just an Aegis that you can't fight into. They'll just play the farming game themselves, but Ancients are being warded up. In fact, they've been slightly farmed out, so the Gyrocopter doesn't really have a path of income there. And, yeah, he needs big items. I don't think Lifesteal is good this game, but maybe like a Butterfly would be pretty solid. MKB against a Windrunner would be great too. So, a lot changed with the Slaughter Blink Dagger as you would expect, but beyond now, 1, 6, and 8, despite his very slow start, he's actually coming back in a pretty big way.
Dire's bottom tower
Guardian
is
Greaves
under attack.
available for X if he wants it, but it seems like he wants a different item. I'm curious as to what that might be. A Hex, I think, would be pretty good this game. Get some control on the Ember or the Wind Ranger. Speaking of Wind Ranger, she's got herself a Shadow Blade. She's really ready to rumble. She has so much surprise attack potential. She can just get a good shackle shot onto 2 heroes with that invis or that move speed boost. But we're actually going to see Ice Size blink in. He has a blink dagger. He's able to get a great initiation with the Walrus Punch, but Wind Ranger will be cleaned up very quickly. This time, not so lucky. The Doom will spell her demise. Now Shadow trying to just clean up the cores on the backline. Dragonite gets the Dragon Tail off, but Shadow has his number and gets a double kill, and the Cold Feet all the while keeping the Doom in place. The Walrus punch him up in the air, and despite Shadow's low HP, they'll go on the Gyrocopter too. This Aegis was expiring anyways. They're happy to lose it in exchange for another kill, and it's going to be on the Gyrocopter as they nuke him down. Oh, ultra kill for Shadow in the end. He is unstoppable, and that is just beautiful. A great fight coming in from the Wings Gaming.
Dire's bottom tower
Ember
is
Spirit
under
doing
attack.
5,000 damage. Sleight of Fist after Sleight of Fist, cleave after cleave, a few good crits in there, and down they all go. And I gotta say, it was really inspired of Ice Ice to go for this Blink Dagger as a surprise. He just picked this item up a little bit ago, and this is the first time we really get to see it to full effect. Just jumping right on a target and killing off a Disruptor before he can Static Storm, and once again, getting a... I don't know what he's doing there, but getting a good, quick crush on him before he has a chance to react. Hitagi, you've got to play so far back now at this point. Like, it's so difficult to play the Disruptor when your economy is this jacked, but now you've got 3 heroes that can just jump on you in an instant and kill you off, and one that can turn invis and do the same. So it's getting harder and harder for FTD. Dragonite, any good item progression here? Could be Silver Edge, could be Shadow Blade BKB. And the Doom? I guess that's AC. AC is really good with Gyrocopter, but... Oh boy. Well, I'm looking for maybe the potential pick up top. Is actually mid that gets destroyed as Wind Ranger just invises in, finds the Shackle Shot, and sets up a kill. Ice Blast and a good Focus Fire. And there you go. Hitagi caught out as well. A very nice combo coming up from the Ember Spirit, and he'll just shrug off the Static Storm. Unless there's a Doom to follow it, which would probably be a mistake. So they take the Tier 2 tower, they take 2 freebies right underneath it, and of course they've got this Observer Ward in place, so they can play around this really nicely as they look at the high ground. They've got Lincoln's up in the Ember, and X is only now TPing back. Focus Fire is going to take this Tier 3 for sure, and FTD are just going to have to draw the line at the racks themselves. Right now, this comeback is substantial. Nearly 5,000 net worth favoring the Wings Gaming. 10,000 experience suddenly right up their alley, and that is great from the situation they were caught in. First, they started strong. They got like 7 kills in a row, nearly uncontested. Then we saw FTD really bringing it back with team fights and just overall bringing more heroes. Where the Radiant excelled in pickoffs, the Dire excelled in broader engagements. But end of the day, Slaughter, Wind Ranger, they got the items they needed to really make some huge plays happen, and now they're just snowballing out of control. Nearly 18,000 net worth. That's 585 GPM here on the Ember Spirit. And he can't be pinned down. Like, how do you actually jump this Ember Spirit, even with a Shadow Blade, when he has that Liquid Sphere? You have to build like 4 staff on DK or something stupid. Like, I can't even tell you. The only way to do it is to have like a smoked Disruptor getting that kinetic static, and even then, I'm just not sure. Like, their Lincoln's Breakers right now are so slow. Every single one of them is a spell. They only... No, they don't have anything item-wise that'll break through a Lincoln Sphere. And that just means you have to, like, simultaneously glimpse and Dragon Tail him. I don't know. Game is hard. Really is. Now we're going to see Lincoln Sphere up for the Wind Ranger. I mean, it's the same problem. Maybe not as instantaneous, but she gets a Shadow Blade away, and there you go. An Ice Blast comes up top as they find themselves another little pickoff. Jumping in with the Ember Spirit and the Slaughter, and down he goes. My camera's been a little shy this game, I will admit it, guys. Had a crazy, really hard to wrap my head around game, and now it's going to be a bit of a stomp the other way. But Gyrocopter buys his Javelins, but that Shackle might just be the game winner, as we see Hitagi picked off as well. That's a godlike spree for Ember, and a 70-second death time on the Gyrocopter. I don't see a way back for FTD. Just too many pickoffs happened early and late, along with a mid-game that just didn't stomp hard enough. They did so well in their big fights when they had their ultimates, but end of the day, it's going to be the Wings that hold it together and bring it back. 10,000 net worth when they were down 6k at 20 minutes. Very impressive stuff. Just keeping resolve and finding their path to victory with Beyond finding that blink. Their item decisions have been good. Overall, I would say most of their fights have gone really well too. There were a couple of fights around here that they definitely need to look back on the replay and think, okay, what could we do differently? How do we engage that in the right fashion? But I think for a lot of their engagements, they made some really good calls. And of course, the standard Gem of True Sight, when you're in this kind of position where you're dominating the map, you've got vision all over, and you just want to keep FTD farming inside their base, and only inside their base, it's really good to go for the Gem. Wow, this Ancient Apparition, I gotta say, is more farm than you would expect. No Midas, but he gets to go Mechanism and Ghost Scepter with his Arcanes, looking for the Guardian Greaves. And he gets a nice little gem from the Slardar, who's going 2 YOLO for it.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But I'll give FTD something. They're not GG. They are definitely in it to try to see what they can do. A couple of good Dooms, and maybe they can bring it back, but it's hard to connect the way you want to with those spells in particular. Wind Ranger under the Observer Sentry, gonna have a homing missile tracking her down. But they're already down. Oh wow, I didn't even realize how close this was to dying. 34 HP on the Ranger Axe. The melee already gone, and down bottom, the melee as well. So 2 melee racks mean that not only the Great Wave continues to push again, but most of the income from the lane creeps is substantially reduced. Only 19 gold per last hitting melee super creeps. We're going to see an easy opportunity for them to just jump in here with the Blink Daggers, but they're going to be patient. They're going to say, hey, we got Roshan, don't need to do anything else. Just sit here with the Smoke of Deceit, and the Tusk can Ice Shards or Blink back on anybody that's coming in to engage. So, they go the clean win route. They take the Aegis the Immortal into the Wind Ranger's hands. She's the hero that can siege from low ground to high, and this will allow them to break through the last lane here, starting with top. You know they're going to top lane, Gyrocopter. That's the only tier 2 left. And unfortunately, it's the one you happen to be in. No, bashes! No first hit. So, at least he had the BKB to TP away home with. And that gives him most of the money he needs to get the MKB out. But I don't think you sell drums for it. I think you do have to farm up that last 800 gold. And FTD looking... No, you can't do this! The Gyrocopter just TP back! You cannot fight this! Oh no, Beyond is coming in the back line. The Gyrocopter is all the way back at the base, and he's going to be actually pincered in here by Ice, who gets him inside the shards and the punch. And now the kinetic static comes down, but Wind Ranger ready to get fully involved here. She blocks the Focus Fire into DK. He shatters quickly, and James will go down as well. Gyrocopter ran in as quick as could be, but he just wasn't there with the initial initiation, and that means there's no kill potential. GG, finally called by FTD.B, and that's going to be a 0-2 for them here for their debut in Starlight or China. Obviously, they're here only in the first phase, but it seems very quickly that their hopes of advancing into Phase 2 to face teams such as Vici, Newbie, LGD are just kind of washing against the rocks. It's going to be the Wings who take 3 points here out of the best of 2 by 2-0ing their opponents, and that's going to be giving them a lot of potential to push on forward through their groups and into the next stage. So we'll take a look at what we're jumping into next. Thankfully, Perfect World played along, that reset worked, and we got a very smooth game of Dota. And while I will say that my obs wasn't fully on point, it was still a very enjoyable game to spectate, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Next match going to be coming up here for China. I know it features VG Gaming Potential, and they're up against ESD. So, that is going to be a best of 2 coming up as soon as possible, since we're actually already about 70 minutes behind schedule due to a number of issues getting off the ground. But thanks once again for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I myself am Blaze. You can follow me at BlazeCasting on Twitter. Of course, follow the